Just in time for Easter, we have a film about the story of Jesus, but amazingly, this is from a different angle, and I'll explain how in this review of the new animated feature, The King of Kings. While giving a performance of his masterpiece A Christmas Carol, English novelist Charles Dickens gets interrupted by his young son Walter. Frustrated at the boy's impulsive behavior and his obsession with King Arthur, Charles, with some urging from his wife, decides to tell Walter the story of a true king, the King of Kings, Jesus of Nazareth. As he listens to his father dramatically perform the greatest story ever told, Walter's heart softens as he learns the sacrifices Jesus made, and he begins to understand that, as a result, he can become a child of God. Starting with the climactic ending of A Christmas Carol is a brilliant hook for a movie where some may wonder, and one of the characters even asks, is this a baby story? Which proves to be a fascinating question, because on one hand, The King of Kings does cater to young kids, but it's so much more. Basing this film on The Life of Our Lord, a real book written by Charles Dickens for his children that he read to them every Christmas, this gives the movie the opportunity to not be a straight as an arrow telling of Jesus' life. It's seen through a child's imagination, which allows for events to, at times, be out of sequence, possess some fantastical visuals, and at other times literally place the child within the story. It achieves this beautiful illustration of the Bible by using technical methods such as low-angle shots of familiar Bible stories, as if we're actually looking through the eyes of a child, sometimes even seeing the action through obstructed views, not fully comprehending the magnitude of what is happening. It even allows for, in this case, the child's cat to be part of the story. This is one of the reasons I love that this film is an animation, because it takes settings like Bethlehem, a town which we have seen countless times in films, but it always appears limited. A set designed with a limited budget, or closed-in sandstone walls with no scale, but in an animation, there are no limitations, and we can see a town like Bethlehem with the arid mountains in the distance, and the immeasurable stars in the desert sky. Also, the animation style makes it possible to amplify the childlike wonder of each moment. Colors are more vibrant, physical characteristics are exaggerated, time is indecipherable, and you can even have a moment where the child watches Jesus' disciples parade across his father's desk. Let me focus on the sensational visuals. Sometimes, when talking about animations, watching at home is just fine. There may be nothing cinematic enough to go to the theater. Let me tell you, The King of Kings begs to be seen on the big screen. This is one of the most beautiful films I've seen in a long time. Whether it's the raging storm while Jesus walks on the water, the scale of the feeding of the 5,000, or even the hand-drawn flashback of the Israelites crossing the Red Sea, every frame of The King of Kings is visually stunning, created by first-time director, Korean visual effects expert Song Ho Jang. Now let me describe the storytelling structure. This is a best of telling of Jesus. It may be a crude comparison, but the first CD I ever bought was the Red Album by the Beatles. Essentially, their singles from 1962 to 1966. A wonderful introduction to the band, but once I started really digging into their full catalog, I realized this album didn't even scratch the surface of the Beatles' best music. In the same vein, this is Jesus' greatest hits. The story races through many of the famous Sunday school stories of Jesus, because there's no way his impact can be fully expressed in a 100-minute movie. That being said, this is a wonderful introduction to Jesus for those who don't know him. And for those of us who do know him, it's amazing how the movie makes it feel like it's our first time hearing about Jesus, just like Walter. An attribute that may be overlooked in The King of Kings is the music. A constant score drives the pace of the movie. It's almost like a movie-length lullaby, but not a lullaby that puts you to sleep, but one that soothes your soul, like the sound of birds singing on a dewy spring morning. Also, keep your ears peeled to hear the angelic voice of Kristen Chenoweth, who, if you don't recognize the name, you probably know her as the original Glinda from Broadway's Wicked. The King of Kings is so good, and beyond the central story of Jesus, which is compelling enough, there are also smaller moments about parenting, specifically the influence of fathers with their children, or how kings can serve their subjects, and finally, how to fight without a sword. So I will give The King of Kings 4.5 stars out of 5 for the hour and 40 minutes of goosebumps it gave me. Now, this is probably the most positive I've been about a film since starting this channel a year and a half ago. So why not 5 stars? Let me explain. 5 stars to me is for perfect films that stand the test of time, and The King of Kings has a chance to move up to 5 stars in my book, but I have to give it some time to simmer, but it does have a chance. Listen, good movies often have elements like great acting, and this film stars some heavy hitters, or a compelling story, or beautiful visuals, but great films have them all, and The King of Kings is one of those films. Every component of the movie complements the others, and it all comes together to create something truly special. Of course, for sensitive audiences, the crucifixion is no joke in this film, but it's also of utmost importance, but I did want to let you know the film doesn't shy away from these heavier moments. It's rare that I urge people to go and see a movie, but this is one. If you don't know the story of Jesus, this is a wonderful introduction, and if you do know his story, this is a beautiful artistic depiction of the most important figure in human history. Let me know in the comments what you think of King of Kings. If you enjoyed this review, do me a solid and like this video, subscribe to this channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss any of my future content. Also, you can check out some of my other videos by clicking on one of these boxes.